The following podcast is brought to you by ENT 2099 Media and Entertainment and is part of the JENT Radio Network.
Hello everyone, welcome to JENT Radio, episode 63, the podcast edition, and this is a conversation episode. And in this conversation episode, I interview Mia Crowe. This interview took place several years ago, and Mia, many of you know her from a show called Game Pro Minutes and a show on TNN titled Pop Across America, and she was a host for both shows. She's not only an actress, but she's also a voice actress and also a hand model. But for Mia, she's a really cool person, really cool individual, and she has been in several films. One is the Entitled Onion movie, another one with Andy Dick titled Being Ron Jeremy, and I know a lot of you know who Ron Jeremy is. She's been in a movie titled Wasted, Blues Journey, Cake Boy, and That Damn Funk, and most recently, she has been booked to do a Merle Norman Cosmetics voiceover, and you can see her in Time Magazine, June 6, 2005 issue, where she's doing an ad for the new Sony CyberShot camera. But Mia Crowe is a really busy individual. You can check out her work and her portfolio, actually, and also some photos from her website at www.miacrowe.com. That's MIACROWE.com. With this interview that we did, it was not too long after Pop Across America, and also I think it was not too long ago after Being Around Jeremy. And you can find a lot more from our interview that's currently up on our interview site right now. But the sections I'm going to spotlight on here are the positive things that, you know, I learned about Mia through our interview, and to this day she's just an elegant, beautiful woman, and I hope that you guys can check out her site, and I hope you enjoy this episode of JENT Radio, the podcast edition. Before I play this interview, I just want to let people know that this interview was conducted via my Pearl Recorder that I usually interview people over the phone, and a mic, an ear mic, and thus there's a little bit more treble and less bass in the actual recording. So, I tried to adjust it via the mixer, so hopefully it came out okay and you guys can hear the conversation well. So, anyway, without further ado, here's my interview. Excerpts from my interview with Mia Crowe.
Okay, here we go. Okay, getting to know Mia Crowe. Can you please tell me where you were born and raised?
Well, I was born in Georgia, but I moved about 2 weeks after I was born. So I'm not from Georgia. I'm really not from anywhere. I moved every year of my life, almost, or every couple years. So I'm not from any one place.
Okay.
It's kind of a conversation stopper sometimes, but I love to ask people where they're from because I probably lived there or been there.
I know a lot of people growing up who have moved around because their parents were in the military. They've had very challenging lives because they had to have new friends, a new life. And was that the same for you? Did that happen to you?
You know what? It seemed very natural to me growing up to have to move around a lot. It didn't seem like it was challenging at all. I mean, it wasn't always fun to be the new kid, but I love meeting people. So it's no big deal for me to just go up to people and be like, hi, I just moved in down the street, But, there were different times when there were, like, racist, or, people who were jealous or mean girls that I met, where I had problems right when I moved there. Like, when I moved to Tokyo, I had met these 3 girls at a swimming pool, and I had said I just moved there, and I was Korean, and they were Japanese, and Japanese American, of course, and they asked me, what are you? And I said, I'm Korean. I'm half Korean. I'm half Caucasian. So on my first day of school, when I got to school, the girls were all saying, oh, that's the new girl. She doesn't like Japanese people. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Why don't I like Japanese people? And they said, well, because you're Korean. And I had never even known about the Korean-Japanese. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The Korean-Japanese.
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of that.
Yeah, the culture clash.
I did not know one thing, and didn't know the history. I didn't know anything about, the slavery or the fighting, or I didn't know anything about that. My mom speaks Japanese.
How old were you?
Gosh, I was probably 12 years old.
Now, did you move around even when you were in high school?
No, that was the one promise that my dad gave to me, that I would get to go to one school, one high school. So I moved to town the day before my freshman year, and then started school the next day.
I noticed in your previous interviews you talked a lot about your mother. What about your father? What kind of upbringing did you guys come? What was your dad? Is he in the military or?
Yeah, my father was a pilot in the military. He was an officer. One of the weird stigmas of being half Asian is people go, oh, your father must be in the military.
Yeah.
Then they assume my mom was a hooker or something, or they assume, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's a stereotype, and then they assume that my father was an enlisted guy, and there's a big difference between being an officer and enlisted. They go, oh, was your mom just a hooker? Your dad was like some enlisted guy that they met? Well, no, my mom was going to art school. My mom was an actress, and they did meet and fell in love, and my mom was an actress, and she gave up her whole career to move here.
The term that they use for people who are different, parents with different races, they call them Hapa.
Yes.
And being Hapa, were you ever pressured by people to pick a certain race to identify with, or did you pretty much accept that you'll accept, did you pretty much accept, yourself, or was that hard growing up?
You know what, my mom raised us to always say that everyone's different, everyone's original, everyone's very unique. So my mom would always tell me, you're unique. Don't try to look like the blonde girl. Don't try to, don't try to look more Asian. Don't try to look more white. Just be yourself. She would constantly pound that into my head. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Because when I would be around Caucasian people, back then they would go, oh, you're an Oriental. They would always, if you got negative, I'm just talking about the negative responses. White people would think I was Oriental, and Asian people would go, oh, you don't look Asian. You don't look Korean. That's one of the favorite things that Asian people love to tell me, that I don't look Korean. So then how does that make you feel? If constantly people are telling you that you're not like them, that you're different. So I dealt with that when I was growing up, but it didn't bother me. And I have to say that the only time when someone directly told me that I needed to choose if I was white or Asian was when I did the Yonsei program in Korea. Have you ever heard of that program?
No.
Well, I got a scholarship from UC San Diego to study in Korea, and so I studied there. And they have a summer program, and then they have a fall program. Little did I know that most Korean American students from all around the country go there to just party and meet other Koreans. I went there to learn how to read and write Korean. I had no idea it was the party scene, right?
Now, did you date many Koreans?
Yeah, I did. And when I went there, this guy said, this guy from Boston University said to me, do you have more Asian friends or white friends? And I said, well, I kind of live in an area where there's just mostly Caucasian people.
Yeah.
And he was like, you need to choose. And I had never heard that before.
I see.
And I don't know. There was a couple of other half Asian girls on that program, and we all hung out together with other people, obviously. But I've never. The question was about being Hapa, right?
Yeah.
If I'd ever had anything negative happen, was that what it started?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I got lost in that answer, but I'm just talking about my experience.
The Hapa experience, that's pretty much what I was asking. But now that you brought up that you went to Korea, did you said you dated Korean men?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Now, of course, Korean men are known to be very, it's a very male-dominated society. And I was wondering, did you see a difference in dating a Korean man from Korea?
Some people tell me, but I did not experience that. And the women in my family, if anything, I would think it was a female-dominated country. I don't know.
Now being a foreigner, that many of the women felt threatened, like, oh, here's a, because some people look at especially, people who are half Korean, American, that there's a certain mystique, and I noticed in many countries I've traveled to, a lot of men find that very attractive. And do you think a lot of females, when you went there, do you think they felt, did they treat you any differently? Because you were half Korean, and I know you have many different you have different answers, but
you're kind of when I was younger, when I lived in Tokyo, when I went to junior high school in Tokyo, people used to on the subway kind of tap me on the shoulder so I would turn around so they could look at me, and they would touch my hair because I have wavy kind of reddish brown hair, and they would say, do you have a perm? And I'd say, no, this is my normal hair, and they would just marvel at it. What is this hair? You're not. What are you? You're weird looking. But I think I've been treated more like a novelty or something strange to be poked at and looked at than something to be. I never had anyone be mean to me or anything because of being Asian. I can think of.
Now let's go back to your parents. Your mom being Korean. So she's from Korea.
She's from Korea, but her grandmother is Chinese from China. But my mom speaks Japanese and Korean.
Oh, cool.
Japanese, Korean, and English.
Do you speak Japanese or Korean? What about Korean?
I speak like a 4-year-old in Korean, and I can read and write Korean, but my conversation is limited to brushing your teeth, eating, and bodily functions.
Now, with your mom, I know with friends who are half Korean moms, very strict. This is very, very, very strict. Was it the same case in your case?
Thought was bad. Like my mom didn't believe that it was good to spend the night at other people's houses.
Yeah.
So I always
a friend of mine was just telling me about that last week.
Really?
Her mom used to do the
But see, I didn't know if that was a Korean. I never put in my head, like I never grew up thinking, oh, my mom's this way because she's Asian. I just thought that's how my mom is, and I have no idea until talking to other Asian girls if this was an Asian way of being brought up or just the way my mom brought me up. But my mom would say, you don't need to spend it. There's no need for a slumber party. Why do you need a slumber party? And so I would just go ask my dad, and then he would get in trouble because he'd let me go, and my mom said I couldn't go.
Yeah.
So probably I only got to go to slumber parties half as much as the average white girl.
Now, assuming that your mom and dad read this interview, what qualities have your mom and your dad instilled in you that made you strong? Made you what you are today. What qualities?
Well, the biggest one that I talked about is to just be yourself, which I have to say I never understood really until I never truly understood it till later in life when and especially as an actress you realize they're not really looking for you to be what they want. They if you're yourself, they'll see that and be attracted to that and find out that that's what they wanted all along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but my mom and dad always taught me to be myself because I didn't grow up with anybody looking like me. Nobody on television looked like me. Nobody in magazines looked like me. Nobody that I ever really met was half Korean and half Caucasian. Very few people, and so there was no one to compare myself to. And if I was going to compare myself to the blonde homecoming queen, I would definitely fall short of, I would never be able to have that hair or blue eyes or have any of those things. And that would have probably destroyed me if I was putting myself up to looking like that because I look different, So the biggest thing they could have ever done for me probably was to just be happy with the way I look for myself and just try to be myself and not try to, compare myself to people. I've talked to a lot of other Asian actresses and they're like, especially when I went on that Korean program, I never even knew people got that eyelid surgery. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I was so shocked. I couldn't believe it. And I had lucky you have double lid. And I was like, what's the difference between single lid and double lid? I never noticed. So when I found out people were getting those surgeries, it was like the most shocking thing I'd ever, encountered. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I do, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm kind of talking all this stuff. I have no idea if like, to me, these things are kind of Korean, like, I don't know, Korean secrets or something.
But at least you had the chance to go to Korea, and you got to check out the culture, and also, you're in Seoul, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back with our excerpts from my interview with Mia Crowe.
Firehouse Radio. We're not your mother.
Hey, this is Jim Getz at Firehouse Radio. If you like excitement, then you have to check out the Firehouse Radio Show. Action, talk, music, and more is what you'll hear on our weekly podcast, found exclusively on Firehouse.fm. Hey, we're firefighters doing radio right. Tell them, Chef.
What's the matter, children? It's Firehouse Radio.
The Mr. Nice Guy Show. Marv?
Well, we had a finger in our entree, our main dish. Now it's time for a finger for dessert. When is this finger stuff going to stop?
The showbiz news.
The most stupid among us. It would not be showbiz news without some kind of Paris Hilton story. Ashton Kutcher, another lunkhead.
Shush. It's the librarian.
What time is it? Don't look at your watch. I've got a website. A new survey has just been released. 58% of librarians have tattoos. Here I am in a minority again.
News.
The media reacted. They made much too much of it. They'll whore themselves out for any story they can sink their dirty claws into. Clear Channel's Get ratings moved a step closer to junk status on Friday. Ah, they're breaking my heart. Thank you, penis growth patch. Apparently this person is talking directly to the patch. Sound like fun? Join me for more at mrniceguy.org, mrniceguy.org. There's so much going on the web, and not all of it is naked people.
Your attention, please. A new edition of the Geek News Central podcast is online now. Be sure to visit www.geeknewscentral.com to subscribe or pick up the latest show. You can call the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365 to have your comments heard, or call the host directly on Skype. His Skype call sign is Geek News Central. As always, this is a show you are not going to want to miss. Once again, a new podcast by the Geek at Geek News Central. www.geeknewscentral.com is available now.
Hi, it's the Cine Gang,
a Filipino-American podcast.
We discuss Filipino-American life from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
So check us out at cine-gang.com.
We talk about anything and everything from our unique Pinoy perspective.
We offer a Filipino word of the day.
We offer examples of Pinoy power.
We talk about poetry, food, or whatever comes to mind.
So visit us at cine-gang.com and join us,
the Cine Gang.
Back to your host, Kennedy. No, not the dead president.
Welcome back to JN Radio, the podcast edition, and we return back to the Mia Crowe interview.
Let's talk about Mia Crowe, the actress now. You're in a segment titled Super Skirts for TNN's Pop Across America. For those who don't know much about the show, can you tell us what kind of roles do you do in your segment?
Okay, well, the show's a traveling talk show, so, I travel to a different city every week, and we're almost kind of like, I don't want to say ambassadors for the show. We kind of go out into the city, and we see what comedy's there.
City in California or cities all across America?
All across America. We started in Washington, D.C., we went everywhere from Pittsburgh, Chicago, St. Louis, Wichita.
And in what period of time in the year? Like every...
Summer.
Oh, wow.
We started in the summertime, and, of course, we finished around September 11th. We were in Wichita, Kansas for September 11th,
wow.
And, we couldn't get any flights out of there, so we had to take a 20-hour bus ride home.
Wow.
Everybody. So, but we traveled all over the country, so every city we went to, it was our goal to, either do hidden camera pranks on people, or, do man on the street. Like for instance, when we were in Washington, D.C., we did this piece that I wrote called Who's PC in D.C.? Who's politically correct in Washington, D.C.? We wanted to see how politically correct this town was. So I dressed up in a pregnancy pad, and I had the shirt on that said pee in the pod, and I went to a local bar. We set up all the hidden cameras, and I started ordering beer and shots and asking people to do shots with me and smoking to see if what the reaction would be. We thought, oh my gosh, this is such a political town. People are probably going to come up to you and go, oh my God, why are you doing that? Or, tell me you shouldn't do that. Can I just tell you, probably one person out of 50 did that. Everyone else was like, yeah, let's do shots. And when we got the piece done, we thought, oh my gosh, this is a crazy piece. You know, we have a guy, there's a shot in there of me saying, what should we drink to? And the guy says, how about a healthy baby? And then we do a cheers.
Yeah.
You know, we realized that people weren't that PC and DC, which was cool. We thought people were going to yell at me.
What was the wildest and most provocative antic that you had to do in a segment?
Probably in Chicago. Chicago's known for its pizza. So we did this segment called Naked Pizza. And we ordered pizza from all around town, probably like 20 different places in our apartment. And we were girls, 4 girls, watching sports and naked. So when the guys came
Not fully naked.
What?
Not fully naked.
Pardon me?
Not fully naked, right?
Fully naked.
Huh?
Fully naked. And so when the guy came to the door to deliver the pizza, we'd be like, oh, can you hold on? I gotta get changed. So we'd be like, oh, do you have change? No, let me go check. And we'd be walking around. Oh, did you get the napkins?
You mean you guys were actually fully naked in front of these people? And the camera people? Oh my gosh.
Fully naked. And it was all hidden camera. There was no people. Camera guys.
It's gonna be ended up on the internet now, right?
No, because we blocked it all out.
Oh, okay.
We also have the original footage. And we edited ourselves so we
Is it kind of scary to do stuff like that?
That's still my favorite piece. I have to say that's the one that gets a lot of response from people.
Yeah, because you guys are naked. How did you feel? How did you girls? Were you girls scared, or are you girls?
Yeah, we were terrified. Are you kidding me? We were dying.
I was like wondering, are you guys like exhibitionists? That you guys?
No. Oh my gosh, I'm so not an expert.
So you mean these pizza people had the pleasure of seeing you guys naked?
Pleasure? They were not pleasure. They were so shocked. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to look. They thought they just like.
Oh my.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, you think that was like some kind of male fantasy, right? But when they walked in, they were ghostly white, staring at the ceiling, staring at their shoes. We had to do everything we could to make them look up. Hey.
What city was this? What city was this?
That was Chicago pizza.
You know, you do that in Los Angeles, different reaction.
Well, sir, I mean, definitely, sir. We did all these different sketches and in-camera type stuff to kind of get the flavor of people and just do comedy, you know? In Pittsburgh, we did, they're known as a steel town, so we did a piece called Balls of Steel, and we made these...
I don't even want to know what that is about.
Okay, I won't even go into it.
What's the most embarrassing moment that you experienced in your segment?
We did this big piece called Bigger is Better, because we're in Texas, right? People always say bigger is better. Everyone in Texas wants everything as big as they can get it, right? So I did this piece with gigantic boobs, probably double G's or double F's. And I came out of a grocery store carrying 2 cakes, 1 cake in each hand, and I approached people saying, excuse me, but I've dropped my keys, can you pick them up for me? And the guy would be like looking on the ground, and I'd go, no, not on the ground, I dropped them here. And I would just kind of like,
stand over and
match my chin with my chest. And I would say, no, I dropped them here, and they would be like horrified. They'd be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm like, can you just grab them out? I'm holding these cakes, and I can't let anybody hold them because they'll get messed up.
And did they?
What?
Did they?
Well, some ran away from me. There were some kids, and other guys were like, no, I can't help you. But some were, but they were just, it wasn't like a fantasy for them to grab in.
Yeah.
They were scared.
And you started being Ron Jeremy. Can you tell us what that's all about? And isn't he a porn star?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
If you've seen his documentary, he's the world's most unlikely porn star.
Yeah.
The movie is a spoof of Being John Malkovich. So, remember how he went into the mind of John Malkovich? Well, this is, he finds a portal into the mind of Ron Jeremy. And, this comedian, this washed-up comedian finds, instead of a puppeteer, he finds a portal into the mind of Ron Jeremy and him, and this girl, just like the Catherine Keener role, I play that girl, him and I sell tickets to go into the mind of Ron Jeremy.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And so every time he farts, the person gets, spewed out on the side of the road. Just like, you remember John Malkovich, right?
Yeah.
So I play the Catherine Keener role. It's a comedy. The guy who wrote it and directed it is a comedian, Brian Burke. He's really edgy and funny and strange. And when I read the script, I just thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever read.
Wow.
So, I worked with Ron Jeremy, and he doesn't touch me, kiss me, or do anything, but he is the nicest man and most professional actor I've ever worked with, I swear.
He's a handyman, right?
Yes, he is very nice. About him?
No, I don't.
But, he has an MBA. He's a well-educated guy. He's a really good person. He's never done drugs in his whole life. He doesn't drink. And, he's not what people think he is.
Did he hit on you?
No, he has a girlfriend, and, actually, him and his girlfriend and I, we've gone out before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, his girlfriend's very nice, Natalie.
So, do you like to watch yourself on television?
Absolutely not. All you do is, that's like saying you want to stare at yourself in the mirror all day. No, you don't want to, or do you want to listen to a tape of yourself?
But then tell me, do you watch yourself the way you do emotions or the way you smile? It's like, I better not do that anymore.
Yes, all I do is criticize myself. Most people are like that.
What about your parents when they watch you? Do they say anything?
Oh, come on, my mom's so Korean. She'll say, oh, why are your teeth so white?
What did she have to say about your Chicago pizza thing?
She thought it was funny.
What about your dad?
They both thought, you know what, I have a very religious family, and I showed it to my family at Thanksgiving, the footage from it, and my grandparents were there, my aunts and uncles, my cousins.
Oh my God, you should have done it.
But all your private parts are blocked out with a bar.
I can't believe you guys have played naked, but...
And my grandma thought it was hysterical. Like, I thought they would go, oh, shameful, but no, they loved it.
Is your brother the younger brother or the older brother?
Younger brother.
So, did many guys come up, oh man, please introduce me to your sister? Does he get a lot of that?
Well, he's been dealing with that his whole life.
See.
No, that's nothing. That's something my brother's always dealt with, I'm not bragging. It's not a bragging thing. When you have a sister, everyone's going to want to meet your sister, right?
Yeah, did you tease your brother's friends? Like,
no.
Oh, you didn't play back,
no.
huh? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. There's one actor you'd like to work with. Who would that be and why?
One actor I'd want to work with. I'd probably say Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Oh, cool.
I love her. I think every movie I've ever seen her in, she plays these very, very multi-layered, cool characters. Cool, that's not exactly the right word, but, these multi-dimensional characters that are just so full. Even just in every look she has, she tells you a million things.
Yeah.
Every movie she's done, even the bad ones, but like Single White Female, I never get tired of seeing that. She was so good in that. She's just an amazing actress that to me, like, redefines herself in every role and, doesn't care about looking the most beautiful or doesn't play, Julia Roberts is the same in every movie she does. It's Julia Roberts in this, Julia Roberts in that, and she plays basically the same character. But Jennifer Jason Leigh, she's so amazing and diverse. And
in the past,
I'd love to work with her.
In the past, you've been a hand model, and you're hand modeling.
Hands and feet.
Hands and feet. What have you done? Where has your hands and feet been on? Magazines? Or?
Have been everywhere. I've done hundreds of commercials and hundreds of hand modeling jobs.
Do you really take care of your hands and your feet?
No, I don't. When you do these jobs, they have on-set manicurists, and so they take care of it, and they take care of it right there on the set. And I don't want to say they're just naturally what they're looking for, but I can't say that I don't wear gloves. I'm not this crazy hand model that wears gloves and shows up on the set and like.
So you pretty much make sure that you don't deal with hot pots and.
No, I do everything. I garden. I wash dishes. I do everything.
And you don't. But are you very careful that you don't get cut or? Okay.
No. To me, hands is just like a face. Like if a model gets a pimple, they'll just put makeup on it. It's just like in your hand, if you've got a little cut or a paper cut or something, they just put makeup on it.
Speaking about expressing yourself, you studied martial arts. You learned kung fu. Would you like to be a Michelle Yeoh and kick ass on screen?
Of course I would. Who wouldn't? But it's not because I'm Asian.
Of course not.
You know, it's such a, like, a stereotype. But, you know, I just got so sick of faking it at auditions, where they'd go, well, of course you know martial arts, do you mind doing a couple kicks towards the camera? And I would have to fake it, because I wouldn't know what, you know, I didn't really have any training, so I had to, I really had no choice but to go, and then I really liked it.
Now, have you ever hurt anyone?
Oh, no. In class, maybe, on accident, but no.
Have you kicked someone in the nuts?
Oh, yeah, but that has nothing to do with my Kung Fu training.
I see.
I did that much earlier.
I see.
I can remember doing that.
All of your ex-boyfriends have contacted me about that. That's true.
No, I can't. The first person to ever probably get in the nuts was my brother.
Oh, gosh. Oh, nice sister. That is cool.
Come on, did you have any siblings?
Yeah, but you didn't kick someone in the nuts. That's the worst.
We were, like, always fighting. Typical brother and sister, isn't it?
Yeah, but not kicking in the nuts. That's a little bit too drastic. Gosh.
Okay, say it was an accident.
So what do you like to do when you have the free time, aside from sleeping, shopping, hanging out with friends?
I don't shop. I don't like shopping.
Really?
No.
Well, I thought you'd be this person who would go, oh, let's go to Beverly Hills.
No, I do not enjoy shopping at all. I don't go shopping. Like today, it's the weekend. I love sleeping, but I'm not going to sleep on my weekend. I play a lot of video games, way too much video games.
What are you playing right now?
I was just playing Resident Evil. And I was just so pissed because I forgot to save and died and had to start again, and I'd already been playing for 2 hours. But I play a lot of video games. I read a lot of books. I'm totally into sci-fi.
Yeah, I've read that.
I'm hardcore into sci-fi. I love sci-fi books. I love sci-fi movies, even the bad ones.
I can picture you as a Trekkie fan.
I could totally be a Trekkie. I don't know why they dress up like that in their real life, but I love the old Star Trek. I'm not really into the new Star Trek, but I love, and I've seen every episode a million times.
Oh, cool.
And I'll leave it at that. And I'm sure many of you sci-fi fans and video game fans probably enjoyed that little bit right there. Yes, she does play a lot of video games. Remember, she did host a Game Pro show, and she does love sci-fi. So you send those letters, stop by her website at www.miacrowe.com. Awesome person, awesome individual. And I hope to do another interview, probably on the podcast, do a live one. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this Conversations episode of JN Radio, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Visit JN on the web at www.nt2099.com/J-ENT and email JNradio at nt2099@gmail.com. See you next time.